Well, this year on April 2nd, I walk away from my wife, my life, my family, my business, and literally mean walk away. I'm making my way to Lordsburg, New Mexico. On the 2nd, a shuttle will pick me up and take me to the Mexican border, where I will touch the border, point my feet north, and walk 3,100 miles to Canada. I am through hiking the Continental Divide. I'm doing it with Sonder Project, who Rotary Club got me involved with Sonder Project during Hurricane Michael, due to the fact that I'm the only Florida straight tree vendor from Pensacola to Tallahassee. So when the hurricane hit, I was the first truck in. And when I mean the first truck in, I mean I ran the police barricade and told them to get out of my way. I have people to save. So that introduced me. Roy Calhoun set up a volunteer day with Sonder Project to go remove tree debris. I'd already been in there for about 4 or 5 weeks, pretty much solid, missed a couple curfews and kind of hit out some here and there, but that's what we do. So we went back in with Rory and our club, and to see volunteers in there trying to do something that really they have no business doing. As a professional running big chainsaws and dangerous stuff every day, it kind of took me by surprise, but we were able to go in, knock out a lot more stuff than they could ever imagine doing, because I came in with my fleet.
And our machine.
My machines, everything I had. So we ripped through it pretty quick. Well, in the process of doing that, the CEO of the Sonder Project apparently got a hold of a magazine article that I'm in through Kelly Plantation about man on a mission walking for wells. And he called me up and said, we'd like to partner with you. And we ended up doing 1,287 volunteer hours in Panama City through Sonder Project. Put countless numbers of people back in their homes.
31 homes we got.
We put 31 homes back together and went and did tree work on multiple.
We did 31 homes of tree work, yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And then from there, we were just kind of talking about, I always had this dream about putting a garden in a school. And I tried a couple years back to get one in Meggs. And there's just, nobody was really biting well. We ended up putting a garden in with Sonder Project in Panama City at
Kingdom Impact
Center.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process of doing that, I told him about my dream about doing one in a school. Well, about 5 months ago, he came in from California, from San Francisco, showed up at our Rotary Club meeting, crashed it, told me that he needed me to go with him to some meetings that day, that he's got my dream going. So we installed the garden. We got put 20 raised beds up into Funiac Springs High School. That's for the culinary class. They're selling salads to the teachers to provide money for lunches for other students that can't afford it and fund other classroom things. But that's not where the dream stopped. The whole time that he read the article, Walking for Wells, Man on a Mission, I've been looking for a 501c3 to allow me to use to try to put wells in Africa. And of course, Chad goes, hey, we've got boots on the ground, and we take no administrative costs, zero. And so on April 2nd, I stepped foot on the Continental Divide to raise wells and do a 3,100-mile walkathon with the goal to raise $110,000 to put wells in Africa.
Wow.
Now, what we're doing when we go with our Rotary clubs, and I'm going to try to make a little circuit of Rotary clubs as I go up.
Right.
We are taking pledges, but with our Rotary club, because I am a Rotarian first and foremost, we're doing a 50-50 on my pledges. 50% will go to the Sonder Project, but 100% goes to our local foundation first, and they'll cut a check for half of it to go for Walking for Wells, and the other half can go to our foundation so we can support our projects that we have in-house, and we support Polio Plus and do all that as well. So that's the goal and plan, and the only thing that this virus is changing is the fact that I guess I'm not going to fly out on the 28th. I'm going to drive. It's a 2-day drive. I can make it in 20 hours, so I'll find a roadside somewhere to pull off, take a nap. I'm actually meeting 2 nurses that are walking with me for the first 2 months.
Oh, right on.
That's nice, huh?
So
It's a husband and wife couple?
Yeah.
Yeah.
cool.
That's awesome.
So were you backpacking tents and
Yes.
everything?
100% everything, and the only reason that I'm willing to do this right now with the virus going on is for the simple fact that I won't be staying in hotels.
Yeah.
I am going to be sleeping in a tent, in the sunlight, and in the fresh air, and we'll be self-quarantining for the most part. We have a YouTube channel that just came up and going, and come April, there will be actually some real footage of trails and things like that. And of course, just whatever it takes to make it through this. For the first time, you know, I've spent all this time learning about reprovisioning myself on trail and stuff like that. Well, of course, this coronavirus has thrown a big hiccup in all that, because the reports I'm getting is the trail stores and stuff like that along the way are just depleted of supplies. So she'll be mailing me boxes, and we're going to be looking for Rotary clubs along my trek to ship boxes to a Rotary club, and maybe have a brother or sister meet me out at a trailhead and go, here's your food for the next week.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
so.
It's definitely chancy, but you know, we've been planning it for so long that we're not gonna let the virus stop our mission, you know. And it's a funny thing, you know, he just never gave up on it. We never gave up. We looked for 2 years. We even did try to get Rotary back us, but it was I think they just thought it was so far-fetched that they couldn't believe he was gonna do it. And then when Sonder backed us, then Rotary said, oh, what are you doing again? You know, let me know about this. So Rory was the one who said it's a good idea to involve Rotary International, you know, and let's do that. So we involved the foundation by saying, okay, pledge $1 a mile or 5 cents a mile or whatever. So we basically are going, if he goes to these meetings along the way, he'll tell a story and say, would anybody like to pledge? You know, it's 3,100 miles, what could you pledge per mile? You know, and then once we get everyone's information, then we'll process it through Rotary, and Rotary will, in the end, write a check half to Sonder and half to Rotary. So it's kind of a neat thing to see, you know, who he can touch along the way. And with the YouTube channel, we don't really know how it's gonna go. I mean, 30A Media is covering once a week. They're doing a 3-minute clip of his videos, right?
Oh, good.
And then from that, you can click on that and go to the YouTube channel and see like the full week of what he did. So the more people that watch that, I guess we would be able to, you know, it would be monetized then, and then we would take that money and put it toward the 11 wells or 10 wells, right? So it's $110,000 for 10 wells is what it is. Which in the grand scheme of things, I know it sounds big, but it's really not that much money. I mean, if we touch 110,000 people and they each give $1, you're there, you know what I mean? So I feel like it's definitely possible, and it's something Kurt's been working toward, and it's in his heart to do it.
Well, and also for us, I'm going to be walking and talking about Rotary on a YouTube channel to younger people.
So we're trying to pull in people.
My thing was 5 years ago when I was approached to become a Rotarian, my first question was, do I look that old?
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's a lot of people who don't
and
know.
because I had the misconception that Rotary was a bunch of old people that sat around and just complained about the State of the Union. And so shortly afterwards I was corrected, and I've been a Rotarian ever since. But I don't see a lot of younger people joining in the ranks, and I'm hoping that this will just help break those stereotypes of, hey, I'm a Rotarian and I'm out doing something cool. You know?
Just you know, we just came from Pets, like I told you, and just you know, one of the speakers there did a walk up Mount Kilimanjaro to support building a hospital, and succeeded in doing it. You know, even though about killed her going up Kilimanjaro, but they've been doing this kind of thing in Rotary for a while. And it's quite amazing that you're doing that.
A lot of people think we're crazy, and everyone says, you know, we have a tree business that Kurt, you know, put blood, sweat, and tears for the past 6 years. We've been doing it officially. It's been climbing for a long time, but people are saying, you know, what are you gonna do when he's gone and everything? oh, we're just gonna keep going on. I mean, I've been with him for 13 years.
I train my men.
You know.
I've done my job. It's either gonna work or it's not. I feel that this was put on my plate, and if I have to go through any hardships or sacrifice anything, I'm willing to sacrifice that to bring water to tens of thousands of people. A gift that is gonna be giving life, and that will continue to give for years and years and generations to come.
Yeah.
If that means I have to endure some discomfort, I'm willing to do it.
And I really think our team is solid. We've actually opened up a landscape side to help supplement if I find that, you know, the trees, a lot of people want Kurt to be there, you know. Even though we have talented climbers and a wonderful crew that are more than capable of and have been doing the job for at least 3 months on their own now without Kurt even in the field. So it's not like, you know, that it can't be done, but some people just want him. If that's the case, we may have to take a little break or just do smaller jobs and focus more on the landscaping, which is, you know, surprisingly, we didn't want to get into landscaping, but had so many customers request it, so we have the two sides now, and I think it's gonna be fine. I'm excited for him. We're just gonna have to see what happens.
Yeah. What's the estimated time frame?
6 months.
When do you leave again?
I stepped foot on trail on April 2nd. I was due to fly out on the 28th of this month, but we're gonna reschedule that for a drive out.
Okay.
I wanted to get out to the desert a few days early, acclimate myself to no humidity, and there's, you know, 1,000, almost 1,400 foot elevation difference of where I'm going. And I would have liked to have spent a couple days out there ahead of time getting ready. Fat old man with injuries, you know. I'm not 19 or 20 years old. These guys that just bump out on trail and just take off. Yeah, those days aren't there for me anymore.
So with you doing the videos and stuff like that, I asked you the other day, how are you going to charge the batteries and get, you know, keep your equipment up to where you...
Well, I've got a small solar panel. I've got a couple battery backups. The solar panel won't work on a trail like the Appalachian Trail because you walk through a green tunnel. But being that the Continental Divide is the most exposed trail there is, there will not be very many shady days. I carry enough battery backup on me really to make myself about 18 charges altogether. But if I spend, you know, just the stretch between Silver City or from Pie Town to the next town is 128 miles. So in that stretch, I need to make sure that I have enough power to keep my cell phone charged for my gut hook app, my GPS communicator, because I have a satellite communication that'll be tracking me, and it sends text messages. It's an EPIRB. I press the button, they send a helicopter, and I've already taken out the insurance policy. It'll only cost me $125 when I press the button.
There you go.
So the solar charger will keep stuff trickle charged enough. I should be able to get about 9 days if I had to push and stay out on trail or had an injury and had to go slower. I can do about 9 days before I have to actually get to a power source, which I'll find in a state park or an RV camp or something like that. In the backpacking world, we call it stealth camping. I will act as if I'm a homeless derelict. As I come up to a town, I'll pitch tent up underneath trees, disappeared, and go find somewhere to plug in for some electricity to charge my little batteries, do what we call a near zero, get in, settle down real quick, covertly go and resupply myself in a town so I don't get swooped up if they decide to start limiting movements, which is the big concern that we have in our family, is that all of a sudden they decide that, you know, hey, everybody needs to kind of stay locked down in one place. I'm going to be out there kind of on my own.
Yeah.
We don't know how that's going to turn out, but that's not for me to worry about.
I have faith in him. He's more than capable in outdoor situations.
Yeah, and you have video proof on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You know, say, hey, this is me.
The
Okay, yeah, you're good.
The GPS tracker is called inReach? Is it an inReach?
No, it's
or
the Garmin I-66.
Okay, well, similar to an inReach. It allows us to text each other, and we've already used it in a situation where Kurt was hiking and thought he was in a controlled burn zone because it was full of smoke. He sends me texts.
2 weeks ago down in the Apalachicola
My
National
heart.
Forest.
Oh, hun, can you check? I am surrounded by smoke. Am I in a controlled burn? I'm like, what? I go on the thing and I'm like, oh my goodness. So, you know, it's
But
really.
she has my GPS coordinates to lap along everything called the forestry department. They actually put a helicopter up in the air, went and buzzed by to make sure there were no other wildfires that had jumped off from their
It was
controlled
really
burn,
helpful.
and it had paid for itself.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you have all the beans, bullets, and band-aids covered. As a former Marine, you know, I think about certain things that you're gonna do, but the first is money. So you just have a credit card, and you're just keeping that, or you're doing cash?
I will have
And
some
then the
cash.
second question is gonna be about, do you have kids? And then the third question is gonna be about water along the way. So you're gonna have to cross a stream or rivers at some point. And depending on the flood zone of those rivers, I was coming back from Orlando this past weekend, and the rivers were so over their banks that I drove for approximately 3.5 miles before I quit seeing water. So just, those are my 3 questions.
So I do have boys. My
Nice.
boys are 18 and 19 years old. They graduate this year. My youngest is slated to join and ship off to boot camp on April 8th. August 8th.
He's good then.
He scored himself a 93 on the ASVAB and is a combat medic.
Slated for.
Yep. My other son is actually the smoker that we have is going to become a vendor's cart. He's fixing to start going to culinary school. We're going to set him up over here selling barbecue at Third Planet twice a week while he's going to culinary school. Figured if he's going to stick around here, I want him doing a business, but my boys are grown. Money, I have a business. They'll be sending me some money in, putting some in the bank accounts. I was raised by federal agents. I will be carrying cash on me. It will be hidden amongst my body and in several different portions of my baggage in case anybody wanted to steal one particular thing, they wouldn't get it all. And then as far as water goes, I carry a Sawyer squeeze, Sawyer filter. I can take water out of your septic tank. It won't take the smell out, it won't take the color out,
Yeah.
it won't take the taste out, but it will render it where I can drink it. It'll take any of the pathogen and bacteria, anything like that. That's what they make Crystal Light packets to change the color
Yeah.
and change the taste.
How many gallons is it again? I forget.
The Sawyer is good for 1 million gallons.
Good grief.
So it's the lifetime. In your lifetime, you won't drink 80,000 gallons of water.
Right.
Sat there and did the math once because I had to know. As far as water supply, there's an app that I have called Gut Hooks that gives me pinpointed where my next water source is. Through New Mexico, the hardest place, I'm really just getting it out of cow troughs.
Yeah.
That's where my water supply is. I have purchased myself 5 caches of water through the Continental Divide Trail Coalition, which gives me 10 gallons of water for my 86 miles from Mexico to Lordsburg. That is the driest and most dangerous portion. I was not being stupid. You're offering to load up and shuttle me out there and everything, and for the $125, I also get 2 gallons of water at each cache, and I can make it to each cache in a day. So my plan is to carry myself 6 liters on my first day. When I get to my first water supply that night at 14 miles, I will drink down what I have, use 1 gallon for that night and next morning, and then 1 gallon to walk to my next 2 gallons of water.
And then, as far as water, I kind of meant too, like, aren't there going to be flood zones?
The only place that there's an issue with, and right now it's flowing at 1,400 gallons per second, is the Gila River alternate. But there's 3 alternates through there. If I get there and it's flowing more than about 400, then we're going to take the high road and we won't have water crossings. That is not what I want to do.
No.
I want the Gila.
It's time and.
I think the Gila is going to be absolutely wonderful. I will cross that river over 200 times in 3 days. 190 of the crossings are nothing. They're ankle to knee deep, but there are 10 crossings that can be, waist to chest deep, that if we've got too high of a flow, I'm just taking the high route and making it to Canada.
Luckily, he has some rigging experience, so he's gonna get creative with some lines because of the trees. He knows his knots, he's got his, so I think with some paracord and some creativity, he might be able to help get across, if you have.
I won't ford the rivers if I'm not in a party more of 4 people. I figure
It's part of the
anything.
Intercontinental Divide is you're at the high line of the water, shouldn't be water. You're
Yeah.
really going
Well,
down-
there
really
is
down the divide.
on the Gila alternate, and the thing about the Continental Divide is it is the only trail that is really pick your own adventure. All the other through hikes and trails is, okay, here's the trail. To be a through hiker of it, you have to have continuous footstep on this blazed trail. Well, the Continental Divide is technically not a finished trail. And so they give you a 50-mile corridor. If you stay within this 50 miles and have continuous footstep, it's a through hike. So I could literally road walk all the way to Canada and it count as a through hike. That is not what I want to do, but I will if safety is an issue, and when I come up into the San Juans, because I am leaving out in early April, when I get to Colorado, start getting the elevation, I might be getting there a little too soon. I might have too much snowpack. I really don't care to do mountaineering, so I'll take a low route and I'll road walk right through Colorado.
Yeah.
And the object is to make it to Canada and raise the money. I can always come back later on when it's a perfect setting for me to be in that section
How much
with
is
my wife.
How much is your backpack weigh? I can't remember.
I'll only be carrying about 22 pounds.
Wow, that's really
Wow.
good.
Unbelievable.
We've invested in a lot of gear that's lightweight and.
My cell phone's like a pound.
I know.
My backpack itself weighs 22 ounces. My 20-degree bag weighs 10 ounces. My stove, which just came in today and it works great, only weighs 25 grams.
Wow.
I've spent, my tent itself weighs 12 ounces.
Wow.
And I've spent the money. I got high dollar,
Over the
high
course of
quality,
2 years.
extremely lightweight. I'm 41 years old. I'm not getting any younger. I climb trees and my knees won't be able to take a pounding. My goal is to get my pack weight so light that by the time I get through New Mexico and start really climbing into elevation, I've already lost enough fat off of me that backpack doesn't even matter. It's like I'm walking around with nothing on my back.
You have cards with your YouTube site or
She'll be having those
I
made
know
up.
that, yeah.
you
I've
send it
noticed,
to us.
of
We
course
can
I
put it on
will,
our
yeah.
website
First.
and go from there.
We'll put it on
So-
our site too.
Great.
Obviously, you guys have thought about all these little things like this, but like on Facebook, I see people, their birthday will happen. They're just like, hey, look, I have some sort of thing that can be attached to, if every one of us have a birthday and we want to attach all of our 348 friends each, that we have on Facebook, to that, raise money for this. Is there a way to attach that?
Yes.
So there's a link through Sonder Project they've created on their website, which I'll give you the information.
Right.
I can send it to your email. But I am creating the cards because I think people need something tangible when they say, how can I follow you? Here you go.
Yes.
You know, and then-
Absolutely.
so they go on and they.
Because we'd never spell your last name right.
Exactly.
It's okay. It doesn't go by my
Sometimes
last
I
name. It's
know.
man on a mission.
Okay.
There you go, I can spell that.
But there's a link on their Sonder project that you can go ding, and then it brings up you want to donate. You want to donate $1, you want to donate $100, whatever. And so they've created that for Kurt, and it was a big moment when Chad said, "Hey, we'll back you," and we're like, "Yeah, right, whatever." Everybody says, "Oh, we're interested, we'll back you," and we never got anywhere. And then he called us back and he said, "Here's your link," and I'm like, "We have a link, honey." There's a link, and it tells a little story about what he's doing, and then it gives you the option to donate money through their website. And we aren't taking any of the money. It's not, none of it's going to us. And Sonder doesn't take any of the money for administrative costs. 100% of the donations go directly to the wells, and 360 Blue pays the salary of the admin staff for Sonder. So it's, I mean, you can't, it doesn't get any better than that, really. These people are pretty awesome.
You said somebody's sharing video, 30A, who is the media?
30A, the 30A Media, 30A TV, 30A Clothing.
Okay, so that's not Bay Life and 30A Life. That's a different media then.
Yeah.
No, it'd be 30A Life.
I
Would
don't
be
know.
probably
Is that Scott Miller?
I don't know, Joanne Ribolo and
Well, I've got it. I'm supposed to.
we have an interview with
We have
them.
an interview with them this week.
which
They're
we will
interviewing
share.
me
Okay,
live.
I want to hook you up with Scott Miller, like
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about, have you interviewed with Where TV3, Channel 3?
We haven't interviewed
Pensacola?
with anyone yet, so we're excited to do anything you could refer us to.
Yeah.
We got about 2 weeks
Alright.
until we leave.
Ooh.
They have
So,
contacts, so.
well, not we. He's leaving us.
Yeah, you're gonna say you're gonna watch,
We're gonna
so.
be a part, and
Yeah.
Well, that's
you
cool.
know, I'll be his voice here.
Cumulus.
So
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I can continue to, you know, promote him through here and help him along the way because he'll be out there by himself. So it's kind of, I don't know.
That's
So-
huge, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate
Yeah.
it, thank you.
And Kim,
We'll
part
let
of
you
the
eat.
best part is that you're sitting there with a smile on your face.
Yeah.
You're being so supportive.
I am.
6
Yeah.
months. Tired 6 months.
It's gonna be
I could go to sleep on the couch.
I mean, just think about it. This was just, we're just sitting around, and to be really honest with you, Kurt was trying to he went to a men's conference, a men's Christian conference with the boys, our boys, and they were doing like compassion ministry, and he said, I want to give up tobacco, so I'm instead gonna sponsor this little girl. And all the money I put in my mouth, I put it to this family, you know, so that's how this started. And he said, I want to get a well for that family. You know, they don't have a well in there. We were just going to walk for one well. And then over the course of 2 years, just talking about it, they ended up getting a well. So then we're like, well, we're already going to,
Just, I got the ball rolling.
he's like,
So we had to do something.
so let's do 10 wells and let's do it for whoever will back us.
There you go.
That's awesome.
That'll be
So-
good.
It's coming true.
That's awesome.